You walk into a factory, machines are humming, workers are moving fast, and though everything seems perfect from the outside, a tiny mistake is hiding in that process. A mistake so small that no one can see it, not the inspectors, the managers, or the machines. And that little mistake can cost the company millions. So how can you detect something that's almost invisible? Well, you run the red rabbit test, a weird, clever, and magical trick that exposes hidden flaws by creating deliberate problems inside your system. What is it? So what exactly is this cartoon name test? Well, it's a deliberate error test that's used to check if your quality system can detect problems before real customers. Instead of waiting for fatal errors to appear, you intentionally plant an issue called a red rabbit somewhere in the process. Now, the idea is to see whether your team or system can detect this flaw before it reaches the customer. If the red rabbit is spotted, that means your quality checks are reliable, but if it slips through unnoticed, it's a clear warning that your entire process might be weaker than you think. The name of this tool comes from the image of a bright red rabbit hopping across clean white snow. And if something so noticeable can't be detected by your system, you know something is seriously wrong. See, most companies don't collapse because of big and dramatic problems. Instead, they fall apart because of the quiet issues that slip through unnoticed. These hidden mistakes can be anything: contaminated food batches, faulty electronic parts, mislabeled medicines, software bugs. These small errors may pile up until they turn into disasters. And that's where Red Rabbit comes in. It stops that from happening by planting a fake, obvious error in the process and checking whether the system is able to detect actual problems, not by guessing or assuming, but by simply proving the checks are trustworthy. How to use the Red Rabbit test? As for using a Red Rabbit test, well, the steps are pretty simple. Still, to understand the process completely, we're going to go through each one using our zero defect pizzeria example. Step 1, plan the test. The first step is planning. You need to figure out which part of the process you want to put to the test. In our zero defect pizzeria example, the manager might want to detect the effectiveness of the process when it comes to detecting flaws in the pizza assembly part. And so what he's going to do is create an intentional flaw like an unusual sauce design or misplaced olives. More importantly, the manager needs to inform the team that he's introducing the Red Rabbit so they can keep an eye out. Step 2, ensure noticeability. Next, you want to ensure noticeably. In our zero defect pizzeria, the manager can check this box by making sure the defect he's introducing stands out, subtle enough to slip through but prominent enough to catch someone's eye. Also, another thing to keep in mind is that the Red Rabbit should be fatal, aka it should raise customer complaints if it slips through the cracks. Step 3, record detection time and response. Next, the manager will have to record detection time and response. That includes the time taken for the assembly team to spot the odd pizza during assembly or inspection. He'll also note down the staff's response, as in what action do they take on catching the Red Rabbit. Step 4, analyze results. Finally, it's time to analyze the results. The manager will look at the time taken for his employees to spot the error pizza and their response. By analyzing this data, the manager can take appropriate steps for process improvement. For example, if the defected pizza was caught at the last step, he can think about introducing necessary quality checks during the assembly process to make sure defected pizzas do not reach the pizzeria's customers. And that's pretty much all there is to implementing a Red Rabbit test to make your process more efficient. When to use? Now, when should you use the Red Rabbit test? Well, whenever you need to be absolutely sure that your system is booming. It's useful when you're launching a new process or product because it lets you test everything before real customers ever interact with it. It also comes in handy when you want to check whether your inspection team or tools are performing properly. This test is extremely important if you think defects are quietly slipping through, especially when customer complaints are rising and performance feels inconsistent. Limitations. However, just like any quality method, the Red Rabbit has its own limitations as well. For starters, you cannot use it too often because if employees start expecting a fake defect every hour, they'll behave differently and the results won't really be accurate. The test can also disrupt production, especially if the planted flaw triggers alarms. More importantly, the test needs to be designed carefully. A poorly planned Red Rabbit can confuse people instead of helping them. At the end of the day, the Red Rabbit isn't really about catching a fake mistake. It's about revealing the real ones, the ones hiding in the background, waiting to cause damage when no one's watching. Just make sure you're using it right and you're bound to see the results. Let us know if you've got any questions in the comment section below.